WNYC Studios.
Note to Self is supported by Mozilla, the nonprofit champion for a healthy internet and the maker of Firefox. Learn more about internet health at mozilla.org. Note to Self is supported by Squarespace, launching their new campaign, Make Your Next Move. Make your next move and set new goals this year. Lock down your next move idea with a unique domain and create a website to launch today. Use offer code NOTE for 10% off your first purchase of a Squarespace domain or website. Make your next move with Squarespace. More at squarespace.com.
Happiness is a skill that I acquired.
I'd like to introduce you to Chade-Meng Tan.
Everybody calls me Meng because in the US, nobody can do names with more than one syllable.
So saying the name Meng to someone who works in tech is kind of like saying the name Ira to someone who works in public radio. Meng's a former Google engineer, but he's not here to talk about coding or anything. He's here to tell us about how he overcame another kind of software glitch.
I was miserable. Right? Most people are somewhere in the middle. And some slightly unhappy, slightly happy all the time. And some people like me, we lost a genetic lottery, so we were born miserable.
Meng is going to tell you how he engineered his own happiness and how he made mindfulness big at Google, spread the word across Silicon Valley, and brought it to you. Because if there was ever a time when we could all use a little more contentment, you know, the kind that doesn't come in a pill, it is definitely with the political climate surrounding us right now. It's Note to Self, the tech show about being human. I'm Manoush Zomorodi. This week, the mainstreaming of meditation and what mindfulness has to do with profits and productivity. 1 year ago, at the age of 44, Meng retired from Google. His title was Jolly Good Fellow. This was a name that he actually gave himself, but it stuck. He had joined the company in the year 2000, employee number 107, and his job was helping Google make its search function work better on mobile devices. Then, in 2003, he went for a walk outside the Google headquarters, and he had an epiphany.
I was taking a walk outside the Google building, and I suddenly knew what I want to do for the rest of my life, which was to create the conditions for world peace in my lifetime.
No, you did hear that right. His goal was to create the conditions for world peace. Yeah, big goal. But this wasn't Meng's first epiphany, so he actually knew there was something to it, because before he had become a Google engineer, he had actually found happiness and joy.
So I was miserable like basically my entire youth. And then just before I turned 21, something changed, which is I attended a talk by a Tibetan nun, a Buddhist nun, and she said something in the middle of her talk. She said, it's all about cultivating the mind. And it's like suddenly I understood. It's like everything in my life suddenly made sense. And at that moment, I promised myself two things. I said, from this point on, right here, right now, from here on, I'm a Buddhist, and I'm going to learn meditation, no matter how hard it's going to be. And then over time, I realized that access to joy is a skill.
Meng discovered that once he learned how to access joy, he could build it into full-fledged happiness. And then he could build all that into a happy life. Inner peace. Inner peace, joy, and compassion. This is what he decided he needed to bring to his fellow Googlers. So he started a mindfulness training course for his colleagues, and he called it, appropriately enough, Search Inside Yourself. But he knew that to get Googlers to actually take the class, he would also need to focus on helping his colleagues get ahead professionally, help them make more money.
I figured there has to be incentive. People have to be incentivized to want to do it. And I figured people, they want to be successful, they don't mind being happy. So that's why success became the foundation of what I do, of Search Inside Yourself.
So how to link mindfulness to profits? Meng promised them emotional intelligence, or EI, as they call it in the Valley. It's something that many techies have been accused of lacking. But no matter how amazing your coding skills are, a good developer still needs to talk with colleagues and understand what the customer really wants. Search Inside Yourself became a cult hit, the most popular course at Google. People were telling Meng that this class was changing their lives. So he wrote a book, then another. And so he decided to leave Google in 2015 to focus on his own meditation practice, but also his teachings and his mission. Still, though, with that engineering mindset.
I'm calling it transformational philanthropy, which is to try to transform human beings, right? Make peace, joy, compassion the default state of all human beings.
It's hard to imagine, but back in the day, not that long ago, this idea of meditation being okay in a corporate situation, it's relatively new.
Yes, not just new, it was weird.
Weird, yeah.
It's fascinating. It was not that long ago. I mean, today it's like mainstream, right? Kermit the Frog entities, right? It's fascinating. But back then, it was like weird. So I did three things when I created the curriculum. First is the science, right? So everything I say has to be backed by science. So that's one. Second thing was precision of language. So, for example, I never say go deep into your emotions. Because if I do that, engineers will be like, how do you quantify deep or shallow?
Right.
So I'll say we're trying to create a high resolution perception into the process of emotion. And that even engineers can understand. So that was the second thing. A third thing I did was make everything applicable to the business world. For example, loving kindness, right? So part of the curriculum is loving kindness. And the spiritual types like us, we all know it's good for us. Still, in the class, I have to say, if you have loving kindness, you go to a meeting room, everybody can feel it, and in the long term, they want to help you. And so it has a business application, even loving kindness, even compassion.
I mean, it's so interesting that in a way you had to be an engineer in order to bring meditation, this philosophy, into a corporate sort of situation, a tech situation. But when somebody would say to you, this changed my life, did that mean that it changed their life in that they had more professional success or profits? Because you don't separate those things from the idea of happiness or joy. And some would say that those things don't go together.
There's a wonderful analogy, which is physical fitness. So imagine you were physically unfit before, right? And then you went to a fitness class, and then 8 weeks later you became fit. And you find that every single aspect of life improves, right? Your success improves, your confidence improves, your home life improves, right? And you sleep better, and every aspect. And it turns out to be true for mindfulness and meditation and so on, because those things are training for the mind. So, for example, one engineer came to tell me he was a manager, and he had a very unhappy relationship with the manager of another group, and they had to work closely together. So they had a lot of problems. And this guy, after taking my class, he realized something. He's been telling stories about himself. He said, that guy is a bad person, whatever. And then one day he woke up and said, wait a minute, that guy was just doing his job. And that changed the relationship. And he got a promotion.
What I found so interesting about your books is how they're actionable. They're almost like how-to books. They're not intimidating. Just take me through, what is your philosophy about starting to meditate?
For me, the solution first is to explain the mechanics behind it, right? This is training of your attention. It changes the prefrontal cortex and so on and so forth. And the second thing is by changing the length. You notice in my books that the first exercises are usually very, very short. And in Joy on Demand, the first exercise is a single breath. One in breath, one out breath, taken with total but gentle attention to the in breath and out breath. And when people do that, immediately they feel better.
Can we do that right now? I mean, if it's one breath, why not, right?
Let's do that. 5 seconds.
Okay.
Total and gentle attention to one in breath and one out breath, starting now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You feel better already, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. In taking the one breath, already you stimulate your vagus nerve. And in doing that, already you're activating something called the relaxation response, which is the direct opposite of the stress response. And already your heartbeat is lowering, your blood pressure is lowering, and so on. It's fascinating. Your muscles are really loosening up. And so the question is, why is it that one breath works so well? And the answer is intensity. So remember the instruction I gave, like total and gentle attention. And there is a beautiful analogy from the old Tibetan text, which is, it is like strong perfume. Right? If you have very strong perfume, you open it up for just a few seconds, you close it back, the whole room smells nice for a long time.
In a minute, how Meng balances mindful breathing with playing Pokemon Go. Really. Stay with us. Note to Self is supported by Squarespace, the simplest way to create a website. This new year, make your next move with Squarespace. Whether that's starting a business or launching a passion project, no matter what your goals are, Squarespace's award-winning templates can help you present your ideas to the world beautifully. Use offer code NOTE for 10% off your first purchase of a Squarespace domain or website. Squarespace.com. Make your next move. Make your next website. Note to Self is supported by Enterprise Florida. Florida offers one of the most competitive business climates in the country with low corporate taxes and zero personal state income tax. It also offers immense opportunities for your business to grow, innovate, and explore. Plus, Florida has a talented and diverse workforce of over 9.7 million people. With over 15 deep water ports, international airports, extensive highway and rail networks, Florida's multimodal infrastructure opens up the entire world for your business. Curious about what Florida could do for you? Learn more at www.floridathefutureishere.com.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jessica Williams.
And I'm Phoebe Robinson.
And we are back this spring with an all-new season of our hit podcast, Two Dope Queens from WNYC Studios.
It's comedy, it's conversation with your fave celebs. It's me and Jess telling trife stories about my bottle obsession.
Gross, dude. Why are you even bringing that up right now? Anyway, this season you'll hear from John Hamm, Carrie Brownstein, Tig Notaro, Gabrielle Union, and more.
Ooh, my pits are sweating just thinking about
Cool
it.
down, girl. Come on over to Two Dope Queens wherever you get your podcast.
And Bono, call me.
It's Note to Self. I'm Manoush Samarodi, and I'm talking to Chade-Meng Tan, author of Search Inside Yourself and Joy on Demand. You mentioned that you have lots of good ideas and insights while you are meditating. And this surprised me because I thought that meditating was about clearing your mind. Or is the branding off message with meditating?
The answer is yes and no. When attention stabilizes, something happens, which is the mind begins to calm down over time, slowly. And when the mind calms down, what happens is thoughts become slower. Not completely disappear, but slower. And something else happens. It's clearer. Right? The clarity of seeing thoughts and clarity of seeing the mind improves. And in that state, that's when, for me, the mind is most creative. And the analogy I give is, if you drop a pebble in choppy waters, you don't see ripples very well. But if the water is completely calm, you drop pebbles in it, you can see all the beautiful ripples and how they interact. And then you can see the ideas very clearly, you can see the interactions very clearly, and you say, oh, wait a minute, I never thought of that before. Later on, if you want to, you can get into a state where there's no thought at all. But there's a choice.
I'm really fascinated in the idea that you build technology and yet subscribe to all of these things. I'm wondering, like, what's on your phone and do you use it?
Yes, I play Pokemon Go every day. That's why you're wondering.
You do?
Oh, yes. I'm level 25. I'm fairly good at this. So the thing about these tools